Okay, well, Gary Schlossberg is joining us now. He's Global Strategist at Wells Fargo Investment Institute. Gary, great to have you with us here. Thanks very much for your time. The market in the US is creeping higher, slowly but steadily, especially the NASDAQ. What's your sense, Gary? What's going on?
Optimism on inflation, optimism on the outlook for Fed policy, not necessarily pivoting in the other direction, but shifting gears, easing the pressure on a number of sectors in the market, notably technology. Of course, given their extended earnings stream, they are sensitive to the discounting of those earnings. So as interest rates fall, that provides support. And of course, the earnings numbers are just coming out now, a little bit of optimism there. A little bit of apprehension about the outlook for economic growth, the onset of a recession. Some of the recent economic data have softened up a bit, but the net of it all, I think, is certainly constructive for the market, and it's showing.
It is showing, of course. There's big moves coming into the Indian market as well. But can India repeat the performance that they saw in 2022? That's the big question, right, Gary? There was a huge outperformance, and we ended in the green compared to a big sell-off across global markets. Even if there is a recession, do you think India can continue to outperform?
I think they can for a time. We'll have to see the growth trajectory in China as they get by the COVID lockdown. We're starting to see things stir a bit. We're looking for a stronger second half growth in China. Finishing the year, end of year over end of year, growth of close to 6%, with a lot of that strength coming in the latter part of the year. So given valuations in China, the pickup in economic growth, that will pose a challenge to the Indian market, which I think still is benefiting from pretty good fundamentals. We do have slowing global growth. We think the global economy will be winding down, not as much as anticipated earlier. We do have the lagged effect of interest rate increases from the Reserve Bank last year. But away from that, agriculture may do a bit better. You had mentioned earlier in your show about fiscal stimulus providing some help to the economy. We're looking at a growth rate we think of anywhere from 5.5% to 6%, which will look quite good by global economic standards next year, except perhaps for China in the latter part of the year. But absent that, I think the Indian economy is and the market should do relatively well over the course of 2023.
All right. Hi, Gary. Good morning. With regard to the Fed rate hikes, the street, I just read quite a few articles and quite a few global views that come in there. And most of them, they're getting a little complacent. They believe that, in fact, we're not going to see more than 25 to 50 basis points for the remainder of this year, some articles suggest. What are you working with? 25 basis points in February? And post that, do you see more rate hikes coming about?
Yes, we're, I guess, in that camp. 25 basis points on February 1st, and then another one or two, more likely 25 basis point increases at the two meetings following that. Our view is that inflation may percolate a bit over the next couple of months, may actually edge a bit higher. But as we move toward mid-year and the latter part of the year, we see inflation rolling over, moving down noticeably. That sets the stage, we think, for the Federal Reserve to be moving to the sidelines, assuming we're right on that inflation trajectory. We're also looking for a mildly moderate recession during the middle two quarters of the year. And that should reinforce that view that the Federal Reserve will proceed more cautiously, eventually move to the sidelines in the latter part of the year. Could even see an interest rate cut or so very late in 2023 if that economic scenario plays out.
Okay, that is the kind of optimism we wanted to start our day with. Gary, thanks a lot for joining in. Always good to start your day with some positive views, right? Have a good week ahead. Well, that's a very constructive view, actually, not just on India, but across the globe. The macro data is improving. The worst of the inflation and interest rate fears are now behind us. So perhaps, there could be some more on the upside for equities. Let's slip into a quick break. But before that, here's a quick programming note for you, our viewers. CNBC-TV18 has compiled a list of top 20 stocks to watch out for this year. It's a carefully curated list of companies that warrant a closer look in 2023 based on factors like growth prospects, new launches, management changes, reforms, etc. As a disclaimer, this is definitely not a recommendation list, but a list of companies which have meaningful triggers lined up this year. Tune in to CNBC TV 18 at 10 a.m. today where we will give you a sneak peek into the names and reveal the list.